Okay, this time naman ang ituturo ko sa inyo or i-guide ko sa inyo ay yung Week 1 Module 1 Set B. Sa pag-solve ng values ng x for the quadratic equation, we have four methodologies: extracting the square roots, factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. Meron na kayong concept nito when you were in grade 7 and grade 8. So, i-review lang natin. So, when we say extracting the square roots, hahanapin natin yung pinaka-root ng radicand. And para mahanap ang root ng radicand, kailangan nating alamin ano ba yung number na pagka minultiply mo sa sarili ay makukuha mo yung radicand. Sa factoring naman, mag-iisip tayo ng mga possible factors na pwede nating ma-set up para ma-figure out natin, or when we multiply those factors, pabalik tayo sa original quadratic equation. Completing the square, meron dyan process kung paano siya ginagawa. I-discuss ko na lang mamaya. And then for the quadratic formula, so magsasubstitute lang tayo ng values for A, B, C doon sa pinaka-quadratic formula. Now, isa-isay natin. For the extracting the square roots, I do have here 3 examples. So, x squared equals 16, 4x squared equals 100, and 3x squared equals 15. In extracting the square root, kailangan nyo muna ma-divide yung a to both sides. Hanggang ang matira na lang sa pinaka-leftmost ay yung x squared. And then, pwede na kayo mag-extract ng roots. So, let us talk about number 1. So, x squared equals 16. I-extract lang natin ng root. Ang square root ng x squared is x, and ang square root ng 16 ay 4 and negative 4. Bakit dalawa? Kasi when we multiply negative 4 times negative 4, the answer is 16. So, the same thing, 4 times 4 equals to 16. So, dalawa lagi ang sagot when we are talking about the roots or the answers for the quadratic equation, both positive and negative. But sometimes we need to substitute it to check if we are correct or not. So, in number 2, as you can see, meron tayong value ng a which is 4. So, we need to divide both sides first by 4 para mas masimplify natin. So, this will become x squared equals to 25. Then, extracting the roots, the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 25 is positive 5 or negative 5. Now, in number 3, we have 3x squared equals to 15. So, we will divide both sides by 3, and then this will become x squared equals to 15 over 3, and 15 over 3 is equivalent to 5. So, therefore, this will become square root of x square equals to square root of 5. So therefore, 5 is not a perfect square. So we can write the answer as positive square root of 5 or negative square root of 5. So ito po yung paraan ng paghanap ng roots using extracting the square roots. So next is by using factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. So, itong tatlo na to pwede natin siyang gamitin depende sa sitwasyon kung ano given. Pero in this lesson or in this guide, ituturo ko na possible gamitin ang tatlong ito sa isang problem or quadratic equation. So, let's say I do have here the example of quadratic equation x squared plus 11x plus 30 equals to 0. So, let us first talk about factoring. So, sa factoring, you will just set up this as x plus blank times x plus blank. Ngayon, if kapag ang first term natin o yung a natin is just 1, then magiging x lang yung first term natin sa mga factors. Pero kung meron siyang greater than 1 siya, ipa-factor nyo rin siya. So, mamaya bibigyan ko ng sample about that. Ngayon, since nakuha na natin yung first element ng factors natin, ang target na lang natin ay malagyan yung second element of both of the factors. So, I have here 30. You will just think of a number when we multiply, we will get 30, but when we will add it will be equivalent to 11. So let us try 5 and 6. So 5 times 6 equals to 30, and 5x plus 6x equals to 11x. So in this equation or quadratic equation, masosolve na natin ang values for x. So i-equate lang natin si x plus 5 and x plus 6 into 0, and then ililipat natin si 5 sa right side, then this will become negative 5, at si 6 sa right side, this will become negative 6. So ito na yung magiging answer natin for the quadratic equation. So ano ba yan? Ano ba yung sinob nating x na values na yan? Yan yung kapag ipinalit nyo dun sa original equation, dun sa x squared plus 11x plus 30 equals to 0. Halimbawa, i-substitute natin si negative 5 dun sa x squared, tapos dun sa x nung 11, ang masosolve natin dyan, 0 equals to 0. The same thing with negative 6. So yan, sa factoring, iisipin nyo yung factor na kung saan kapag inad si OI, si outer at si inner terms or product of outer terms and inner terms, makukuha yung gitna, at pag pinagmultiply naman, makukuha yung last term. So that is the concept of factoring. So for the completing the square, meron tayong method dyan. So first, kapag ang first element natin o yung a value natin is 1, ay ililipat lang natin si c sa right side. So ang mangyayari, magiging x squared plus 11x equals to negative 30. Then the next step, yung b natin, i-divide natin siya sa 2. And then, after natin ma-divide sa 2, kung hindi siya divisible, kagaya niyan, 11x over 2, ang gagawin nyo naman, i-square nyo si 11 over 2. Ang square ng 11 is 121, ang square ng 2 ay 4. So, idadagdag mo yon sa parehas na side. So, dadagdagan ko ng 121 over 4 si left side, at dadagdagan ko rin ng 121 over 4 si right side. So, kapag inilipat mo isa dyan, halimbawa si 121 over 4 sa kanan, inilipat mo sa kaliwa, magiging 0 lang siya. So, parang wala lang din tayong idinagdag. Pero gagawin natin to solve for the value of x. Now, pwede na natin mai-simplify si left side at masulat natin siya into perfect square or square of binomial. So, ano ang square root ng x square? Ang square root ng x square is x, and ang square root ng 121 over 4 is 11 over 2. So, yun. And then, i-square natin siya. Then, dun sa right side naman, this is addition of whole number and fraction. So in adding whole number and a fraction, we will just multiply 4 by negative 30. So that will be equivalent to negative 120. And then plus 121 all over 4. So ba't nagkaroon ng all over 4? Kasi when we simplify negative 120 over 4, that is just equivalent to negative 30. So parang change natin sila into similar fraction. So we can now simplify both sides. So in left side, we will just rewrite it, and dun sa right side, pwede na natin siyang isimplify. Negative 120 plus 121 is 1. So ang matitira sa right side is 1 over 4. Now, pwede na tayo mag-extract ng root. So when we find the square root of x plus 11 over 2, the answer is x plus 11 over 2. And for the square root of 1/4, siya ay 1/2 and negative 1/2. Kasi dalawa lagi ang sagot. Isang positive at isang negative. Now, pwede na tayo mag-simplify. Dun sa una, sa x plus 11 over 2 equals to positive 1/2, ililipat natin si 11 over 2 sa kaliwa, ay sa kanan, magiging negative 11 over 2. The same thing dun sa kabila, negative 11 over 2. And then, pwede na natin siyang simplify. Doon sa adding similar fraction, kapag magkamukha ang denominator, we can now simplify the numerator by doing the operation. So, 1, negative 11, meron kang utang na 11, may pambayad kang 1, the result is negative 10. So, negative 10 over 2, that is negative 5. So, doon naman sa kanan, yung negative 1 at negative 11, utang mo piso, may utang ka pang 11, dumami utang mo, so that will be negative 12 over 2, and negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So, as you can see, sa factoring at completing the square, the same yung magiging sagot. So, ganun din ang mangyayari mamaya sa quadratic formula. So, ano ang notes natin dito sa completing the square? Una, check nyo muna si A value. Kapag si A ay 1 lang, ililipat nyo lang si C. Pero kapag si A ay greater than 1, ililipat nyo si C, pero i-divide nyo lahat ng terms by the A. And then after that, ihahap nyo si B. Pag possible, then isusulat. And then after nyo siyang mahap, magpipil ka ng blank do sa pinaka last term ng perfect square. Yung sagot nyo dun sa dinivide nyo sa 2 ay i-square nyo para makomplete natin yung square. Ngayon, yung idinagdag nyo naman ay idadagdag nyo din sa kanan. And then, that's it. Pwede mo na siyang simplify hanggang sa makuha nyo yung value ng x. So, the quadratic formula naman, the same problem, we have x squared plus 11x plus 30 equals to 0. So, we will first identify the values of A, B, and C. So, same lang siya sa concept ng set A. So, here, the value of A is 1, the value of B is 11, and the value of C is 30. So, in this case, isa-substitute lang natin sila sa quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac all over 2a. So, papalitan nyo lang si b ng 11, si a ng 1, si c ng 30. And then, pwede ka nang mag-solve or mag-simplify. So, since nasa bahay naman kayo, pwede kang gumamit ng calculator. So, nung pinalit natin, si negative b magiging negative 11 plus or minus square root of 11 square minus 4 times 1 times 30. So, kung ano yung mga number na yan, yun lang yung mga values of A, B, and C. And then, simplify natin. Square ng 11 is 121. And negative 4 times 30 is 120. Negative 120. 121 minus 120 is positive 1. So, now, pwede na natin masimplify yan as x equals negative 11 plus or minus square root of 1 all over 2. So, pwede na natin hanapin yung dalawang value ng x. So, dun sa kaliwa, we have negative 11 plus square root of 1 over 2. Pag sinimplify natin siya, ang square root ng 1 is 1. So, ngayon, negative 11 plus 1 equals to negative 10 divided by 2 equals to negative 5. Doon naman sa kabila, we have negative 11 minus square root ng 1 is 1. And then we have negative 11 minus 1 is negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So, as you can see, parehas lang din yung magiging sagot, negative 5 and negative 6. So, kailan nagiging madali ang isang method sa paghanap ng roots or ng values ng x ng quadratic equation? Nagiging madali yan pag na-master nyo na yung bawat concept. So, kapag magaling na kayo sa factoring. Pero kung nahirapan kayo sa factoring, nahirapan kayo sa completing the square, pwedeng ang gamitin nyo is the quadratic formula. So, in using quadratic formula, magsasubstitute ka lang naman ng values ng a, b, c. Pero, mayroong advantage kung mamamaster mo mag-factor ng quadratic equation. Sa completing the square, bihira ang gumagamit, pero importante rin na alam natin yung completing the square. So next, additional tayo sa factoring. Paano kung greater than 1 yung value ng a sa quadratic equation? Let's say I do have 6x squared plus 16x plus 8 equals to 0. As you can see, yung a natin is 6 which is greater than 1. So in this case, iisip kayo ng factors ng x and ng 6 para maging first term natin sa dalawang factors. So, ang naisip ko is 2x times 3x is 6x. Now, we do have your blank. Iisip kayo ngayon ng possible factors ng 8 na kapag in-apply natin, in-add natin yung product of outer terms at inner terms, ang magiging sum ay 16. So, let us try 8 and 1. Then, check natin yung sum ng product of outer terms and inner terms. So, let's say 2x plus 1 times 3x plus 8. So, ang outer terms niyan ay 2x times 8 is 16x. Ang inner terms niyan, 1 times 3 is 3x. When we add, that is 19x. Pero ang hinahanap natin is 16x. So, mali ito. Next, paano kung baligtarin natin? 2x plus 8 times 3x plus 1 equals to 0. So, ang outer terms natin ay 2. Ang inner terms natin, product ng inner terms natin ay 24x. So, when we add, 26x. So, still, mali pa rin. So, what if, think of other factors of 8. Let's say 4 and 2. So, 2x plus 4 and 3x plus 2. Ang product ng outer terms natin ay 4. Ang product ng inner terms natin ay 12x. So, when we add, so that would be 16x. So, ito yung hinahanap natin. Ang factors ng 6x squared plus 16x plus 8 ay 2x plus 4 times 3x plus 2. So, now we can solve for the value of x. Isa-separate lang natin sila at i-equate to 0. 2x plus 4 equals to 0 and 3x plus 2 equals to 0. Lilipat lang natin sila, magiging negative. Then, di-divide natin by the value of the numerical coefficient of the left side, which is 2 and 3. Di-divide natin both sides. So, magiging sagot doon sa kaliwa is negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And the negative 2 divided by 3 is negative 2/3. So, yun po yung application ng factoring kapag ka greater than 1 na yung value ng a natin. So, it is up to you kung ano yung methodology na magiging fit para sa inyo. Pero kung gusto nyo maging play safe lagi at nahihirapan kayo sa factoring, gumamit kayo ng quadratic formula. Kaya lang, mahabang process. Pero kung naintindihan nyo kung paano gamitin yung factoring at applicable siya sa equation, gamitin nyo. Or, meron pang isang option, which is completing the square. So, I hope nakatulong ito at sana masagutan nyo ng maayos ang set B ng Module 1, Week 1. That's all.